So welcome to next session. In the last lecture we were talking about a very important design by intellect of human being, that is the regulated power supply. So the point is very much meaningful in overall designing aspect of engineering, so the crux is this point, as that is the design of regulated power supply is not there in this subject. It will be dealt with in ECAD at appropriate time, but the theme is very much related to our subject, so I took some time to elaborate on this. The idea is that an ideal scenario doesn't exist. Ideal constant voltage source doesn't exist. What exists is practical constant voltage source. So the challenge means what we want is we don't have, what we don't have, and what we have is ultimately we don't want. So what is to be done? There is the question of optimization. There is a question of optimization. In fact, it is the regulated power supply design is the pathway to human life. From something we have to extract what we want in the most optimized manner. So what we have got is when we talk of it, I think that the detailed design is not part of our discussion, so we just skip it out and we proceed for next part of the discussion. Still I will use few minutes of this lecture also to elaborate on the themes of this particular design of voltage regulator, that is the voltage. So listen very carefully, these are very meaningful statements which would be useful for you throughout your engineering design, what we can say aspect. That we have defined first an ideal constant voltage source. It exists only in the definition, only in the what we can say whiteboard or blackboard of classrooms and in the answer sheets. That the ideal constant voltage source does not exist. When ideal constant voltage source does not exist, we get a practical. I'm explaining each and every term so that there should not be any confusion at all. So what we want, I'm just repeating, extracting some meaningful words. So an ideal so-called ideal constant voltage source is, and also I am developing the flow of this subject in such a manner so that it should be easy to understand. Those extra sincere students from your class, there may be many, they might have tried to watch my earlier YouTube lectures that also I will put on the group, or they might have read some other books. Few were asking me what is the reference material and all that. So the standard classical internationally established sequence is something, and since the understanding of students is an important aspect according to me, the sequence which I take is somewhat different. It is not that what we can say, there are few who might try to be different for the sake of difference. It is not that just I am telling I am taking it some different course because to be different than international practices, but there are some meanings for that. So an ideal constant voltage source, what it must have got a characteristic that it must maintain a constant voltage of V volts irrespective of the current drawn through it. So, and we use a good figure of 5. Otherwise, if when we draw something without, means taking values in variables, doesn't give a proper punch in understanding. So let us say a constant voltage source of 5 volts, and we have a variable resistance we call RL. So irrespective, and this would be I, irrespective of I, this is point A and this is point B. This is VAB. So irrespective of when I vary the load resistance, I will vary, and irrespective of I, voltage will be 5 volts and I may go to infinity as RL produces, RL moves, reaches to 0, tends to 0. So this is something which does not exist. Such a voltage source means such a voltage source exists only on this whiteboard. Such a voltage source exists only on this whiteboard. When you were very young children, you also wanted to be something, and for that you might have planned something. There may be many such plannings which somehow existed only on your mental plane. Like that, this exists only on this whiteboard. Except this whiteboard, this does not have any place to be there. So this is, we don't get. Then what we get, which we usually refer, is called as a practical constant voltage source. I am using each and every term in a meaningful manner so that there should be complete clarity. So here I am using the word practical constant voltage source. So practical constant voltage source is that whose voltage does not remain constant. So the means this class is comprised of sincere students is something that there is a contradiction in the group of words of sincere students. How a student can be sincere? Like this, a practical constant voltage source, these two words do not give any meaningful understanding, because the voltage across a practical voltage source can never remain constant if current is drawn through it. So, if that practical constant voltage source I put in a black box, point A and point B, and I say it to be 5 volts, then this is RL and this is I. In that case, what happens is that it's 5 volts, no problem, between A and B, only when current is 0. It is in open loop condition, open circuit condition, and then it starts falling down, and at one point of time it is here. This is the maximum current which you can supply. So this is a practical constant voltage source, and the moment at which we utter the word practical, it is never constant. So practical constant, that this constant, use of word constant in this is that way meaningless. Therefore, even if we skip it, we can say to be more meaningful, it is better to say practical voltage source. So as we explained it in detail in the last lecture, a practical voltage source consists of an ideal voltage source and non-separable, that is a non-separable combination of an ideal voltage source and an internal resistance. And when this becomes 0, the maximum current is 5 upon Rs. So this is practical voltage source. Then means when the practical voltage source is used, its voltage drops down when more current is drawn, and that is something which may be very much, what we can say, problematic for the application. Therefore, now in the entire subject henceforth, whenever the voltage source comes in the diagram, while solving the problems, when we solve the first Kirchhoff's law problem, that time we consider source to be ideal. In that we consider source to be ideal source, even though it doesn't exist. So whatever voltage source you may take a battery cell, you may take a solar cell prepared of multiple, what we can say, solar cell. A single solar cell may give you less volts, so you can add many in series from solar panel, some DC source. You may take a AC source, transformer, eliminator, filter, or you do, now that the terms transformer, eliminator, filter are maybe too outdated for you, you may get a mobile charger. It may be a 3.3 volt charger, so that voltage source. So whatever voltage source which you may use in practice is always a practical voltage source, and that practical voltage source, its voltage will drop down. Its voltage will drop down when the current is drawn through it, and this needs to be prevented. So we want something what we wish, that is, we want an ideal voltage source from something what we have. So an ideal like voltage source is to be designed by using a practical voltage source. An ideal like voltage source means, suppose if I have got a practical voltage source of 10 volts. In the last lecture we have taken an example, and it is having a 0.1 ohm internal resistance. So its VI characteristic would be 10 volts and 100 amperes. 100 amperes. So this is, say, just, or 100 will be too large, you can say 20 amperes, we may use it as 0.5 ohms. This is just for explaining, so there is no point in exact values. So this is what we have. So what we can do, adding one resistance here and one resistance here, which you vary R, and this we can put it as R1. Then an actual load you have to connect here. Then if you want to design a 5 volt voltage source, in that case you can make it this to work like this. If you want to construct 5 volts, if you want to construct a 3 volt voltage source, you can construct it like this. So by putting very large resistance in parallel, just to take care of open circuit condition, maybe it can be 100K also, and this is variable, it can right from 0 till infinity. You can completely bypass it, or you can make it very large, and infinity that way, but no meaning. By varying this, you can ensure that this voltage is point A, this point B. You can maintain this voltage. Suppose if you want to design for 5 volts, you can means by the theme to conclude is by using a 10 volt 0.5 ohm practical voltage source, you can design a regulated voltage supply, regulated power supply or regulated voltage source of some voltage lower than 10 volts such that the voltage will remain constant even if this load resistance RL varies, but up to this limit. After that, means if from this to this, whatever may be the changes in RL, voltage will remain constant. So this is an ideal like voltage source in a limited range. So in this range, this 5 volt voltage source is ideal in this range. What I said that range of operation. Or instead of range, I can say region of operation. In the given limited region of operation, I can construct a voltage source which behaves like an ideal voltage source, and as said in the last time that what you can do, it is you who can be controlling this by watching this. So you can watch this voltage and control this. So you can adjust R such that the voltage should remain 5 volts. If voltage goes more, you have to increase R. If voltage goes less, you have to reduce R. But for increasing, you can increase to up to anything. But for reducing, when you short, beyond that you can't reduce, you can't have negative resistance. This R can't go negative, therefore there is a limit beyond which this ideal voltage source can't operate. So for the want of time, I am concluding on this voltage source issue here. So in general, in our subject, whenever voltage source comes in problems, we treat them as an ideal voltage source, because we assume that this kind of arrangement, regulated power supply, which you will separately learn as an application of transistor in the other subject of ECAD. Therefore, whenever the voltage source discussion comes as regards to problem solving, means whenever we observe a symbol, like this or sometimes like this, so we assume that these are ideal voltage sources, and we also assume that they are created using practical voltage source, and that's some kind of arrangement. So what I said, that human being, you have to watch and control. Instead of you, one thing which you remember very clearly, whatever you can do it by appointing somebody else as your servant, or that servant can be a person, or that can be an automated arrangement. So what is your job which you are doing? You are watching the voltage and controlling the potentiometer to vary that resistance. The same thing can be automatically done, and when that is automatically done, it is a regulated power supply. So in the entire subject, whenever a constant voltage source is shown in a diagram In the problems which we are solving, it is assumed to be a regulated power supply which gives a constant voltage up to a limit, and that limit is considered to be reasonably large. So this concept of voltage source, because that is very much important in your syllabus, in the books which are there is a concept of current source also, but right now is my perception is that unnecessary introduction of current source in the beginning of the discussion leads to more confusion than its utility. Now remember, you are an engineering student. You have taken admission based on your performance to such a reputed college like Walchand College. So obviously it is expected that the thing will not be too simple. Means it is not a, what we can say, bedtime story. An engineering college lecture is not a bedtime story which you used to listen during your childhood. That is very easy to understand without any jumbling or confusion as such. So when things are difficult to understand, some confusion is bound to be there, because that confusion which is there within you will lead for some kind of analysis to reach to conclusion. And in understanding process, confusion, then an analysis to clarify that issue and reach to a conclusion is an essential feature of teaching learning process. Therefore, it's not that I should avoid all complicated things. If all complicated things are to be avoided, then it will lead to a bedtime story which would be finished in say 10 lectures, and that's all. But that we are not supposed to do. But why I am avoiding current source in the beginning discussion? Because it leads to confusion and it does not have an immediate application or utility. Therefore, the sequence we now, whether learning is sequential or concurrent, that again is a very debatable issue, but means by proper assumption you can learn many things at a time. But according to me, I maintain some, it is my perception, it is an individual teacher's perception with no unanimity across the world. So my perception is that voltage source and resistances, we spend fair amount of time, and based on that we proceed further. So we now deal with voltage sources and resistances and various circuits. And voltage source, by voltage source we mean a regulated voltage source which is near ideal one, right? So based on this we proceed further. Now we move today, we will proceed with introduction of Thevenin's theorem. I again repeat that all these theorems which are core to circuit analysis, but now as computers have invaded irreversibly in human life across all domains, there is no need for you to become masters in using these theorems. Means now you should know the theorems. Just like at the time of your parents, in early primary education in mathematics, there were tables. They padhe path karaise. Because that time calculation was to be done manually. Calculators were not there. So tables were to be mugged up. Now that is irrelevant. Only just for the sake of giving a feel, they might have been put. Same is the logic of these theorems as regards to practicing them is concerned. So we should know them properly. Those are required in developing computer programs. For them it may be applicable. For others they should know the concept very clearly. But for some now, that is the biggest, what we can say, paradigm shift across all not engineering, across all disciplines in the world, is that a laborious work of human being is now being taken over by the machines. Laborious work. It may be intellectually laborious or physically laborious. Most of the work is being captured by machines, and solving problems is one of such works. Therefore, all those techniques which had a different significance few centuries back when these were put forth is now substantially changed. That we must keep it in mind. So from that point of view, we talk of a Thevenin's theorem. Now the Thevenin's theorem, we have an electrical circuit which I always like this very simple circuit and build everything based on that circuit. We take a two voltage sources, we can take more 20 volts because we 10 volts all the time. We make take value simple values. Now the question is very simple. To find out the current in 5 ohm resistance. Last time we solved a problem using Kirchhoff's laws, but we found out that to apply Kirchhoff's laws we need to assume different currents, and we need to put two equations for Kirchhoff's voltage loop, and then we have to solve those equations simultaneously. In this case, only two equations are going to be solved simultaneously, but we will find that in further applications we will be required to solve three, means if we take a bigger circuit, three simultaneous equations. Up to two simultaneous equations solving manually was easy. Then 3, then 4, then there were various methods to solve it simultaneously and all that. The point is, what I repeat is, the point is to find out when we consider an electric circuit which consists of multiple voltage sources and multiple resistances connected in the manner which you may like. Listen very carefully. When we have got multiple voltage sources and multiple resistances, I have started with only 2 voltage sources and 3 resistances. So when you make an interconnection as per your choice, in that situation, what happens is, to compute the current in any branch or voltage across 2 points. So either the question is what I equal to what I shown, or VAB equal to what. So to calculate voltage across any 2 points in the given electric circuit, or current through a branch, or to be very precise, what we have got, we have got voltage sources and resistances. We are having the interconnection. So I will make the question very specific. In that entire arrangement, the question may be calculate voltage across any resistor or current through any resistor. I am pinpointing the problem. Voltage across any resistor or current through any resistor, and this can be done using Kirchhoff's laws. Now we are talking about, since I again repeat that Thevenin's theorem is not exclusive in the sense that without using Thevenin's theorem we are having a method to compute it. So we are talking about a Thevenin's theorem that what this Thevenin developed, this Thevenin tried to develop an alternative method which is computationally easier for human being. Computationally easier for human being. It would be computationally easier for computer program also, but that doesn't mean anything to a reasonable extent, because suppose if you are supposed to bring some material to home, since anyway it is you are working from home, task is assigned to you, you have to bring some 40 kg material on a bicycle or by walking. So 40 kg and then 20 kg. So 20 kg is much lighter than 40 kg. And you are required to bring 1 kg or half kg. 20 kg is lighter than 40 kg by half times. Half kg is lighter than 1 kg by half times. Then do you perceive same relief? Means suppose if parents ask you, no, go into you don't have any work, you just simply log in and wander here and there and tell that lecture is there. So you can't give any excuse that I am busy. So after the lecture, you go to the market and bring what we can say 40 kg of rice. Then you will say, no, so it's too heavy and I may get exhausted and I have the tutorial to be completed. There would be online session where I am supposed to solve the problem, so I get exhausted. So please, 40 kg is very heavy for me. Then your parents say, no, okay, it's all right, bring 20 kg, then you will become happy because your load is reduced by half. But what kind of relief you get between 40 and 20? Do you get same thing between 1.5 kg? No, because 1 kg is too light for you. Similarly, the Thevenin's theorem makes the thing simpler in calculation. The relief which it provided for human being is too huge because the work was very much cumbersome. But for computer, everything is that way simple. So that the level of relief, the quantum of relief this Thevenin's theorem might have brought in electrical engineers centuries back might not be perceived by you, but as a theme, this is very important. So what Thevenin's tries to do, now there is a complaint from the current generation students that we don't have any challenging work because everything is almost done. You might be knowing the example of Edison and Swan. Both invented incandescent lamp independently. Who was the first and who was the second is immaterial because both of them were not knowing that others were doing it. Likewise, you can be Thevenin of today's age if you don't know Thevenin's theorem. So, what I will try to do is you try to develop Thevenin's theorem on your own. So, now what is to be found out? The point A and point B, that is the resistor. So that you go within the resistor, and from the resistor you look towards means what you do, you bring this away, you can connect some wires and you bring it away in this plane, and from this you look at the circuit. So if you are the resistor 5 ohm, this point A and this point B. So what you look at? You look at this huge circuit, 20 volt. So when I disconnect here, I look at this circuit, 20 volt, 10 ohm, 10 ohm, 10 ohm. Now the question is, can I reduce the circuit which I look at? So from my point of view, I look at 2 points A and B, and between A and B there are 2 voltage sources and 2 resistances. So the question is, can I see a small equivalent circuit between A and B? This is small equivalent electric circuit. What is the smallest electric circuit what we can have? I give a hint so that you can work more. Smallest, it must contain 1 voltage source and 1 resistor. So the question is that what Thevenin thought of. I don't know how he might have thought it. What is the thinking logic? There are, anyway, it is some superstitions are carried over across the globe. You may know planchet. You may know planchet. If somebody of you is expert in planchet and can bring Thevenin on the planchet table, then you may ask him what was your thinking logic. So it's don't use it on planchet and say that no sir, in an engineering college you are teaching like this. It's a just theme that we're just planchet is what we can say in, if we think in a scientific manner, planchet is something which we are trying to model what Thevenin might have thought of. And listen, it's a scientific analysis. And then means in planchet answers, you are having a finger there. It is that Thevenin entering in your mind answers means that you are, means when we do planchet, the scientific meaning of planchet is to who it is. Planchet, you may ask your parents, it is you who answer the questions, means you going into Thevenin's shoes and answering. So that is very important. So I conclude this first part of the lecture and with an open question that any electric circuit means you want to compute resistance, current in one resistance or voltage across one resistor. So that resistor you move out, and from the ends of that resistor you view towards the remaining circuit, and that remaining circuit which consists of multiple voltage sources, multiple resistances, you try to reduce it in smallest equivalent circuit which consists of 1 voltage source and 1 resistor. And how you do that, I leave it up to you. And if anybody of you is able to do that, you can, after this lecture, you can put a break, you can take a break, and before the next part, you must come up with the answer. And if you are able to do it, you are equivalent to a Thevenin of today's. You are Thevenins of 21st century. That's what we can confirm, and you must be very proud of it. So I hope the theme is clear. We end now and continue the next session. Thank you.